So in this video, I'm going to go through how to get unlimited sales appointments on demand without wasting time speaking to unqualified leads or spending hours each day chasing leads to book an appointment with you. This is the same system I use in my own business to get sales appointments every day with people that are 80% sold when speaking to me or someone from my sales team. And it's the same system I've used for hundreds of different clients to help them get predictable appointments every month in their business. And if you go to our website and just click on our results page, you can see some of the different client testimonials, results, and case studies that we have for yourself. So the way that it works is simple, and I'm going to walk you through the whole process step by step. Starting with step 1, which is to create an automated appointment funnel. So here's the problem with traditional ways of getting sales appointments. You either have to rely on going to networking events, referrals, speaking at seminars, cold calling, or things like that, which can work, but unfortunately they take a lot of time and money, and the output that you get, which is the sales appointments, isn't really that great considering all the input or the work that you put into it, which is basically your time and money. And the other problem is that if you've tried to run ads or use some sort of online marketing in order to get sales appointments, the problem is that most people will do is simply generate a lead and get someone to fill in a form such as this one, where people enter their name, email, and phone number, and then they chase the leads to get an appointment. So someone fills in a form and then they're constantly calling them and texting them in order to get a call. Now, I'm not saying that this can't work. It can work, but the problem is you're either going to have to spend a lot of time chasing the leads yourself or pay appointment setters to chase the leads for you. Again, both of these methods can work, but what if there was just a way to automate this step? What if you could just automatically get leads book a call in your calendar because they actually want to work with you? Well, this is where an automated appointment funnel comes in. With an automated appointment funnel, instead of chasing leads to get an appointment, they book an appointment in your calendar because they actually want to work with you. So let me show you step by step how the automated appointment funnel actually works. So you start off with a landing page, and the landing page is your opt-in page. And just to give you a real life example of how this works, if you go to our website and go to our landing page here, this is a typical example of what the landing page will look like. And on this landing page, you want to make a big promise about a problem that you can solve for your clients. So you can see the big painful problem that we solve for our clients is helping them get 10, 15, 30 or more predictable sales appointments with their ideal clients without having to rely on cold calling, networking events, relying on referrals, or any of that stuff. So if people want to see how to do that, they just enter their name and email, and then we send them this video, which is basically a video sales letter that explains how they can solve this problem that you can see here in the title. It goes through how to solve that problem step by step. And then once we explain to them how to solve this problem, we just say at the end of the video, if they want to save time and they don't want to do all of this themselves through trial and error, and they just want to get a shortcut and work with someone that has already done it many times before, they can just click on the button below to schedule a call. And then on the next page, you can either have a schedule call page or an application page, or you could even combine both if you prefer. But the key point is that if people watch a video first explaining how you can actually help them and why your solution is better than other alternative solutions that are out there, they will be more inclined to actually schedule a call and want to show up for that call and be interested in working with you. So this is why we don't ask for their phone number on this form. I know there's many other marketing companies that will recommend that you ask for a phone number here, but if you've tried to do that in the past, you'll know that it is extremely difficult and time consuming to actually get an appointment with someone that enters their phone number on the opt-in page. And I know this myself because I used to do that as well. So that's why I switched to this strategy instead, where we just ask for their name and email, and then we send them the video. The video does a lot of the selling for us and educates them and explains how it all works, and it goes through the whole process. And then if they want to learn more, then they can schedule a call in the calendar. And again, the goal with this is to get quality appointments. So for me, I would rather get just a few really good quality appointments than 100 really low quality appointments with people that are just not going to buy. So for me, it's all about quality over quantity. So if that also resonates with you, then using the video sales letter to get leads to understand what you do and the value you provide before scheduling a call can really be a game changer in your business to getting not just more appointments, but getting better qualified appointments as well. And if you're wondering which one should you use first, I would recommend using the schedule page first, which is, in other words, a link to your Calendly page or your calendar page where they can schedule a call with you in your calendar. I would recommend using that first if you want to get more appointments, but I'd recommend using the application page first if you want to get better quality appointments. So for my business, I started out using the schedule call page first, then the application page. But then as I was getting too many calls, I switched it over to the application page and then the scheduling page, which is what I currently use for my business. But either way can work. And then once they've scheduled a call with you in your calendar, you can then send them to the call confirmation page, which is basically a thank you page, which I'll talk more about that later on in this video and explain why this page is also very important. So these are the 5 main pages of your automated appointment funnel. But on top of this, there's also a few extras that you can add to improve the results even more. And this would be creating follow-up emails for any of the leads that don't convert. So all the time, and I've been doing this for a long time, for years, and all the time I get leads that convert. And when I look at the lead's history, I can see many times that that lead was generated months or sometimes even years ago, but because we have been continually following up with them with emails that provide value, and I'll talk more about that as well later on in this video, but because we've been sending out these emails have finally motivated them to go ahead and schedule a call. Now, you'll always get some leads that convert straight away, but in my experience, there's also a huge percentage of leads that do convert later on through the follow-up emails. So it's important that you have that part of the process also done, and it's also important that this is automated. You don't want to be manually following up with your leads. You want the whole system automated. So you just want it so that you get a new lead and then you don't even have to think about it. The lead will just schedule a call in your calendar, and then you just need to call the lead whenever they schedule that call. And everything else that gets the lead to schedule a call happens in the back end automatically. On top of that, if you want to maximize your results even more, you can also create retargeting ads. These days, I don't really retarget leads that much on social media channels. The main channel I use to retarget leads is simply AdRoll. So that's adroll.com. And the reason I use AdRoll is because when you run ads, typically, if you have the pixel installed on your funnel or your website, your ads are going to be retargeting people anyway as just part of the process of running ads. But those ads will typically only appear on the big channels like, Google, Facebook, TikTok, or wherever you're actually running ads. But if you use AdRoll, then your ads can appear on thousands of different websites, on non-social media websites such as Yahoo, MSN, Forbes. But the point is, you can pretty much appear everywhere in the mind of your prospect. And it's also very cost effective. You don't have to spend a lot of money on these retargeting ads. You can literally appear almost everywhere in the mind of your prospect, wherever they go browsing the web, for as little as maybe $5 or $10 a day. Again, it all depends on how much traffic you're actually retargeting, but overall, it's not very expensive. So this is a quick overview of how the automated appointment funnel works. And if you'd like to see a real-life example of this funnel in action, then just click the link in the description of this video to watch my free masterclass training, because that will walk you through my automated appointment funnel so you can see how it all works for yourself. And if you don't have the time to set this all up yourself, we do also have a done-for-you option where we can create the whole funnel for you. So if you go to our done-for-you lead generation page on our website, you'll see that we can create the video sales letter, we can edit it for you, we can create the different sales funnel landing pages and all the automations behind the scenes, we can create the follow-up emails, and in other words, we can set up the whole infrastructure that you need to get your automated appointment funnel up and running. So again, if you want to learn more about that, just click the link in the description of this video to watch the free masterclass training that goes through how it all works in more detail. So now that you have the infrastructure ready, this is a great first step, but it's kind of pointless if no one actually sees it. So this is where you need to actually promote your automated appointment funnel. But you need to do this the right way. Now, when it comes to promoting your automated appointment funnel, there are 2 main ways that you can do this. You can use free or low-cost strategies such as cold email, LinkedIn messaging, or other outreach strategies, or you can create content, which is also another really good free and low-cost way to get leads or get people going into your automated appointment funnel. And the advantage to doing this is that it's profitable because it's free and low cost. You don't have to spend any money on ads or anything like that. But the downside is that it can be slow. So results can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Sometimes it could be quicker, sometimes it could be longer, but that's the average I typically see when using the free or low cost channels or strategies that I just mentioned. But remember, this video is all about getting appointments on demand. So in other words, I want you to get as many appointments as you want right now without having to wait 3 to 6 months or more down the line. So this brings me to step 2 of the process, which is to pay for appointments with ads. So this is how you get appointments on demand. So the fastest way to get leads and sales appointments, like I mentioned, is to run ads. But it has to be the right kind of ads, as I'll show you in just a second. But first, just in case you're wondering, how exactly does running ads help you get appointments on demand? Well, if you send people from your ads to your automated appointment funnel, once you've spent a few $1,000s on ads, the advertising channel that you're using will tell you what is your average cost per lead, and more importantly, what is your average cost per appointment. So for example, for our clients, they have a cost per appointment that can range anywhere from $50 per appointment to $500 per appointment, with the average cost being about $200 to $300 per appointment. And the cost simply depends on how well your automated appointment funnel converts and who you're targeting and how valuable that person is as a customer or a client. So for example, if you're targeting high net worth individuals, people with maybe $1 million or more in investable assets, or maybe you're targeting business owners with revenues of maybe $1 million or more, again, you're going to have to expect to pay a lot more for an appointment with someone like that compared to maybe targeting someone who is younger and maybe doesn't have a lot of money yet. So those are just some of the variables you have to keep in mind. And so just because you might have to pay, let's say, $500 per appointment on the high end, if this is with a very good qualified prospect and someone that you can actually make a good return on investment from, then it's not necessarily a bad thing. So it's all relative and it depends a lot on your business and who you're looking to target. But again, for most of our clients, the average cost per appointment is about $200 to $300. And we work with clients both in B2C and B2B. So it doesn't really make a big difference either way. A lot of the time, the main difference is usually just how much money does the person that you're targeting have, because the more money they have, usually the more you have to pay to target that person. But anyway, once you've spent a few $1,000s on ads, you'll be able to get your cost per appointment. And like I said, for most clients, it's about $200 to $300 per appointment, but it could be less or more just depending on your business. And at the end of this video, I'll also show you some ways that you can improve this cost per appointment later on as well. But for now, let's just say that your cost per appointment when running ads is $200. Here is the beautiful thing about running ads. If you want 10 appointments and you know that your cost per appointment is on average $200, then all you need to do is pay $2,000, because $200 per appointment times 10 appointments is $2,000. So if you want more appointments, you just pay more. And if you want less, you pay less. You are in full control of how many appointments you can get every single month. And we literally had a client just give us a video testimonial recently who said this exact thing. He signed up with us because he wanted to get appointments on demand, and he wanted to choose how many appointments he gets every single month, so that if he wants to give his sales team more appointments one month, he can just increase his budget. And if he wants to give them less appointments another month, he can decrease his budget if they don't have any more capacity. But that's the beautiful thing about running ads. You are in full control. So it's really that simple. Like I said, you're in full control of how many sales appointments you get every single month. Your only limit is your audience size. So if, for example, you're targeting people in a very small town and you're spending, over $100 a day, chances are you're probably going to reach everyone that could be a potential client, and then you're no longer going to be getting any results. So for most of our clients, we do target people in multiple states or nationwide or in a large area, a large geographic area, because that usually means that there's a lot more people that could be potential clients, which means you're less likely to saturate that audience. On top of this, you also have to keep in mind that there are new people entering the audience all the time. So let's just say you're targeting people over the age of 55. Every single day, there are new people entering that audience that are turning 55. So sometimes I speak to people that think that their audience size is really small, but in reality, especially if you're targeting people nationwide or in multiple states or in a big geographic area, there's probably a lot more people than you might think. And we've had clients spend anywhere from $3,000 a month to $30,000 a month or more on ads. And even when spending $1,000 a day or $30,000 a month on ads, they still haven't saturated their audience. But again, it could happen just depending on who your specific audience is. So it is something to just keep in mind. Another limitation could be your capacity to take on more clients. So if you're doing everything yourself, you might struggle when you start getting more appointments because you just don't have enough time in the day to actually do the work for the clients. And this is something I experienced a few years ago. When I was getting a lot of appointments, I realized that the only way I could continue growing was to start building a team to help me with the client work, which is something I've now done. But again, this is just a limit for you to be aware of as well. So eventually you will reach the point where you might have to slow down or stop the amount of appointments that you're getting, at least temporarily, until you build a team to help you take on more clients in the first place. And then the final limitation would be your availability to handle more calls. So this would be if you are the one doing all the sales calls yourself. So again, this is something I also experienced. Eventually it just reaches a point where you just don't have the time to handle all the calls yourself and you need to hire a salesperson to help you. And this is actually something we recently had a client go through as well. He was running ads. He was getting a ton of appointments. Literally, his whole calendar was booked every single day for the next 2 months, which is crazy. And he had to turn off his ads because he just had no more availability to handle any more sales calls. Now he is in the process of hiring a salesperson to help him take on more sales calls. But again, this is something that you need to be aware of. These are all problems that can happen when you start getting lots of sales appointments. So even though you could, in theory, get as many appointments as you want on demand, there are still these limitations to be aware of. Now you can get through these limitations, and all of these limitations are good problems to have, because I would quite frankly rather have a problem where I'm too busy and I need to slow things down than having the problem where I'm not busy enough and I need to get more appointments coming in the first place. So again, these are all problems, but they are good problems to have, and I just want you to be aware of them. But aside from these 3 limitations, once you have these 3 things handled, then you can pretty much get as many appointments as you want on demand just by paying for appointments when running ads. So at this point, you might be wondering, okay, so how do you actually create these ads that generate appointments? Well, here are a few tips that I've found that have worked well over the years. This is not just for my own business, but also for the hundreds of different clients that we've worked with as well when helping them with their ads. So the first thing that I've noticed is using Facebook and TikTok video ads, at least at the time of recording this video, is what I found is working best. So I have, for example, found that you can get a lower cost per lead with image ads, at least on Facebook, and now TikTok also introduced image ads as well. Even though it is true, you can get a lower cost per lead. I found that when you run image ads, you don't get as many leads actually convert into appointments. And I think it's simply because video just builds trust a lot more faster than an image ad. So even though you might get a lot of leads with image ads, you won't get as many appointments compared to video ads. So that would be my first recommendation, to run video ads instead of image ads. At least that's what I found is working best right now. And I would also recommend using Facebook or TikTok, because those are the 2 platforms I've also found have been working best in terms of generating leads and appointments at the lowest cost per lead and the lowest cost per appointment. Now, I have tested other platforms. For example, a few years ago, I tested Google ads and YouTube ads. And even though I was able to generate some leads from those channels, the cost per lead and the cost per appointment still wasn't as good as Facebook and TikTok ads. Now, things are always changing. So at the time of recording this video, I am right now actually testing Google ads and YouTube ads again, just to see if things have changed and now if potentially it is working at a similar level to Facebook or TikTok ads. But if I do find something that works better, I'll be more than happy to use that channel instead. But as of right now, Facebook and TikTok ads are what's working best, not just for my business, but also for clients as well. The next thing that I recommend that you do is to quickly call out your ideal clients in the first few seconds of your ad. So this is very important because all of the advertising platforms, Facebook, TikTok, even YouTube, they're all heavily based on the algorithm. So the algorithm is what's going to be doing the heavy lifting to find the right people for your ad. So this is a good and a bad thing. The bad news is that it's no longer based so much on exactly picking out the right targeting when you're setting up your ads. It's really just based on your ad, creating a really good ad, and then calling out specifically who your ideal client is inside of the ad, especially in the first few seconds. But the good news is that with this new way of running ads, which is relying on the algorithm, you can pretty much target almost anyone you can think of. All you got to do is call them out in the ad, because what will happen is the people that see your ad and are not a good fit, if you call them out in the first few seconds of the ad, they will just skip the ad and continue scrolling. Whereas those that are a good fit and see the ad and they do like what they hear, they will actually go ahead and convert. And then this gives the advertising channels more data on what kind of person has actually clicked on your ad and converted, and then they show your ad to more of those kinds of people. So it does all of this automatically without you having to lift a finger, which is just amazing in my opinion. So you've just got to point Facebook and TikTok in the right direction by calling out who is your ideal client. And then they will find the ideal client based on who are the ones that are actually looking at the ad, clicking on the ad, and then converting. So that's why, again, it's really important that you call out who your ideal clients are in the first few seconds of the ad. So notice what I say in my ad in the first few seconds.
So if you want to get more leads, appointments, and clients predictably every single month in your business without having to rely on referrals, cold calling, cold emailing, or anything else like that, then there is one simple change that you
So notice how in the beginning of the ad, I'm basically saying if you want to get more sales appointments, because that's pretty much what I do as a business. So, if you go to our website, everything is about getting sales appointments, getting predictable leads and sales appointments with your ideal client. So that is exactly what I'm going to say in the first few seconds of my ad, because if someone has a business where they may be selling some sort of e-commerce product or something like that, I don't want them to watch the ad. I don't want them to click on the ad. I want them to keep scrolling and ignore the ad. But if someone has a business where they need to get sales appointments to get clients, I want them to stop, watch the ad, and then obviously if it sounds interesting to them, to then click on the ad and then convert. So that's why it's so important to call out who exactly it is that you're looking to target in the first few seconds of the ad. The next part is to create curiosity in your ad. And out of all the different marketing and psychology triggers that you could use to get someone to take action, curiosity is probably one of the most powerful things that you can do. So notice what I say at this point in the ad.
Like that, then there is one simple change that you can make in your business in order to get appointments.
So did you notice how I said there is one simple change? Now, I'm not telling people what this change is. I'm just saying there's one simple change that you can make. This creates curiosity. So in your ads, don't actually tell people what the solution is. Tell them something that will create curiosity and that will motivate them to want to learn more. So I can't tell you enough how powerful curiosity is to get people to take action when you're running ads. And also another way I created curiosity was by saying you can do this without going to networking events or relying on referrals or speaking at seminars and things like that. Because again, these are all things that people want to avoid. So they know what the solution is not, and they know that this solution just requires one simple change to their marketing process. But again, they have to click on the ad and convert in order to watch the whole video and learn more about how it actually works. The next thing I recommend that you do is to test different variations. So if you noticed on my ads, this is video ad 2, video ad 3, video ad 6, and this is a faceless ad. And I'm just testing different ads just to see what works better. So as of right now, these are the ones that are working best, but obviously you can see video ad 1, video ad 4, and video ad 5 didn't really convert that well. So if I just tested one ad, it might work, it could have worked, but there's also a possibility that it might not work. So just testing more variations of your ads can just increase the chances that your ads convert well. And then my final tip is to focus on lead generation when running ads. So here's the thing, when you're running ads, there are a lot of different goals or objectives that you can choose. But if you just run ads focusing on generating more clicks or traffic or things like that, you're going to get low quality people see your ads. Whereas if you focus on creating ads with the goal of generating leads and actually tell Facebook or TikTok that your goal is to generate leads, they're going to show your ad to people that have converted for other people in the past. So these are people that are more likely to actually convert into a lead just based on their behavior in the past when other people have been running ads to the same people. So if you don't want to waste your money, don't worry about brand awareness or running ads just to get more views or anything like that. Just focus on ads that actually generate leads. And you can do this when you set up your ad inside of your Facebook or TikTok ads manager. Now, if you need help with any of this, then everything I've just gone through in terms of setting up your ads, this is something that we do in step 6 of our done for you process, where we actually help you set up the different paid advertising channels on Facebook and on TikTok so that you can start generating leads and appointments. And again, we take care of the whole process for you. So if you want us to help you either by doing it for you or consulting you on how to do it, just click the link in the description of this video to watch my free masterclass training that goes through how it all works in more detail. So at this point, once you've set up your ads and everything is converting, you can calculate your profitability. So for example, if your cost per appointment when running ads, let's just say it's on the high end of $300. If 75% of people show up for the call, that means your cost per showed up appointment is about $400. So if your conversion rate from appointment to sale is 25%, or in other words, 1 in 4 people actually convert into a client from your appointments, then that means your cost to acquire a new client is $1,600. So if you sell a service where your profit is $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 or more, then your ads will be profitable. And then all you need to do is decide how many appointments you want every single month. And then you can just scale up or down just depending on your capacity and how many appointments you can actually handle every month. Now, as great as this sounds so far, what if you're not profitable? What if you need to make some tweaks to your ads in order to get a lower cost per appointment in order to make this profitable? Or let's just say everything is profitable and everything is working well, but what if there's actually room for improvement? What if you can actually get even better results? Well, all of this is possible if you do this one more thing to maximize your results. So here's the thing, because I've worked with hundreds of different clients, I've noticed there are always some clients that do exceptionally well, and they get what I call above average results. And after analyzing all the data from hundreds of different clients, I was wondering, what is the difference between businesses that get below average, average, and above average results? Or in other words, what can you do to put the odds in your favor and be like those businesses or those clients that are getting above average results? And this brings me to step 3 of the process, which is to optimize your campaign. So what I noticed is that clients with above average results all had one thing in common. You see, here's the thing, you can say anything you want in an ad these days, but your prospects will probably be thinking, can I really trust this person? Will this really work for me? Or how does it actually work? Or it could be, a number of other objections or doubts that they have in the back of their mind. So you need to be able to address all of these concerns with something I call trust triggers. So these are things that show proof that you can really help your clients. And the more of these trust triggers that you have, the better your ads will convert. Now, because of time, I'm not going to go through every single trust trigger that you could use, but I am going to share with you the 2 biggest ones, the 2 most impactful and powerful ones that you can use in your business today. And these are the ones that I found have helped my clients the most. And also in my own business, these are the ones that I found have helped me the most as well. So the first trust trigger is client results. So you need to have a dedicated page on your website listing your client results. So this could be testimonials, case studies, success stories, or anything else that shows proof that you can do what you say you do. So if you're making a promise in your ad, or your video sales letter, or in your sales funnel, if you can actually back that up with other client testimonials and proof of your results and things like that, that is going to go a long way in getting your leads to actually convert into an appointment. And as a result, that's going to lower your cost per appointment. And the fact is, the more proof that you have, the better everything that you do in your marketing will convert. Now, if you don't actually have any client results or testimonials to show just yet, that's okay. It can still work without it. I'm just saying, if you have it, you can get even better results. But if you don't have client results, or maybe for whatever reason, let's just say you can't use any client testimonials or case studies, because I do have some industries like in financial services where they can't always use client testimonials and results and things like that. So if you can't do that, then the next trust trigger that I'm about to show you is going to be crucial and critical if you want to get above average results. And that is to create YouTube videos. Now, don't worry, I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking things like, I don't want to record videos, or I don't want to be on camera, or even I don't have the time to create YouTube videos. And I get it. Trust me, I really do get where you're coming from with this. But the reality is, you don't need to be a content creator spending all your life, every hour of your day creating videos. You don't need to be on camera. And yes, I am on camera on some of my YouTube videos on my channel, but many of my videos are faceless, like this one that you're watching right now. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is that the video you create is helpful, not whether you're on camera or not on camera. And some of my most popular and best performing videos are actually faceless videos where I'm not on camera. Again, I've done both because I still do think it helps to show your face on camera if you can, because I do think that also adds some extra trust. But again, it's not a 100% requirement. So creating videos, even if you're not on camera, will still build up more trust than not creating any videos at all. And creating videos doesn't take as much time as you might think. You don't need to be a content creator or an influencer or anything like that. You can literally create a short 5 to 10 minute video in as little as maybe 1 or 2 hours per week, or potentially even less than that. Now, I know this video that you're watching now is longer than 10 minutes, but the reality is you don't need to create longer videos. You can create videos as long or as short as you like. As long as the content is good, that's the most important thing. And here's the thing, businesses that create YouTube videos not only generate leads from YouTube and Google for free, yes, free without needing to pay for any ads, and not only are these leads typically very high intent and high quality leads, because YouTube leads are often searching YouTube and Google for answers to the problems that they have. And if they see your video come up first, you're going to be targeting them or getting in front of them at just the right time. And not only do YouTube videos help you convert more leads into actual appointments and clients, because again, when people start watching your videos, you build more trust and a relationship with your leads over time. But on top of all of that, on top of everything I've just gone through, clients that consistently publish YouTube videos also see a lower cost per appointment. Sometimes they're able to get appointments for 50% less or more, and they even get a higher show up rate on the bot calls that they do get. And on top of that, they also get better conversion rates with appointments that convert into clients, because again, the YouTube videos do such a good job of building trust. In fact, I've had some clients in some industries such as financial services or insurance where the ads have been very similar between different clients because they're in the same sort of industry. So they do very similar things. But one client doesn't have a strong YouTube presence and they'll pay about $300 per appointment. And then another client with a strong YouTube presence will only pay $60 per appointment. And nearly all the other variables in their funnel and their ads are pretty much almost the same. The only difference is one has a strong YouTube presence and the other one doesn't. So this is what's so crazy about YouTube, is that not only does it help you generate leads and all that other stuff, but it actually helps you get better results with all aspects of your marketing, including running ads. And this is one of the reasons I create YouTube videos like this every single month, because not only do videos like this generate leads, but I can also use videos like this to convert more leads into appointments and clients. And videos like this will help lower my cost per lead and cost per appointment when I'm running ads. And you don't even need a lot of subscribers or lots of views either on your YouTube video for any of this to work. So at this point, you might be wondering, how exactly do you create YouTube videos that generate leads and clients? Well, watch this video next, because in this video, I break down why YouTube is probably the best way to advertise your business right now and how it's easier than you might think. And I'll actually go through some real life examples of some of my YouTube videos that have performed well in the past so that you can replicate it and do the same kind of thing in your business. And of course, like I said earlier, if you want us to do all of this work for you, if you want us to set up your automated sales funnel, your video sales letter, your follow-up emails, your ads, and everything else that goes with it, then just click the link in the description of this video to watch my free masterclass training, because that goes through how it all works in more detail. And I'll see you on the other side.